Hi, this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and this is a Samsung Series 7 Slate PC, which is a Windows computer that has an 11.6-inch display, an Intel Core i5 processor, and runs Windows 7. It has a starting price of around $1,000, which makes it pretty expensive compared with an Android device like, say, an Asus ePad Slider or Amazon Kindle Fire, but it also has much more powerful hardware and the ability to run full-blown Windows applications, so it can do a lot of things that would be difficult to do on those other devices. You can see here I've also got an optional docking station and an optional Bluetooth keyboard, and the device also comes with a stylus. Now, you don't need to use the stylus. It has a capacitive touchscreen display, but it also has an active digitizer, so in some cases it's easier to interact with the display using the stylus. You can actually just take it close to the screen and hover the mouse over different areas. Something that's very difficult to do is hover navigation when you're using a finger. You can tap and hold to right-click or tap for a single click, or there's also a button here that you can press to sort of click once and get a Windows context menu to come up. Now, in terms of some of the things that you can do here, for instance, let's go ahead and open a notepad, and we can start typing away. So it's sort of like using a regular Windows desktop or notebook computer with a fairly fast processor and decent display resolution. Now you can also use the swipe keyboard, which is something that previously has really only been available on Android devices, and now you can use it with Windows too. And this lets you enter text without lifting, well, that'll take a while, but without lifting your finger from the keyboard, and so you can enter text a little bit more quickly that way. So that's kind of a neat feature. Now, one thing that I've noticed is that the device also, the computer has Windows 7 built in handwriting recognition and a keyboard, so if you don't want to use swipe, you can use those, but I found it kind of difficult to figure out how to toggle back and forth. So if I wanted to try and use the handwriting recognition right now, I'd have to sort of minimize this and switch over to the default Windows keyboard, and I'm not 100% certain how to do that yet. I know there's a way, but I've had this device for about a couple of days, and I've just sort of been playing around with it. I just wanted to give you a first look of what some of the capabilities were before doing a full review, which you should be able to find soon on this YouTube channel and at liliputing.com. So it's kind of nice having the option of using the stylus, which definitely gives you more precise input, and you can use it when you're navigating using Internet Explorer or other applications. There's also a sort of touch-friendly user interface here. Let's bring this a little closer. And from here you can see your battery, your wireless status, to-do list, calendar, which apparently wants me to choose a city, and weather information. So it's a nice full-screen interface. This is the sort of thing that's going to be pretty much standard with Windows 8, but it's you need these third-party add-ons like this to get this touch-friendly, finger-friendly interface when you're using Windows 7. And there's also a series of applications here that have really been optimized for touch input and large screen interface, including a calendar application, which actually looks pretty similar to the one that's available on Samsung's Android devices, and so forth. There's also a camera application, which again looks a lot like the camera applications that you would find on an Android device. There's a front-facing camera and a rear-facing camera. Hello. RSS reader, maps, and so forth. From here you can also fire up the Internet Explorer web browser, or you can use the full desktop interface to do it. And it works pretty nicely with finger input. We've got pinch to zoom. You can use the swipe keyboard again to navigate web pages. And because we're running a full version of Windows on a device with an Intel Core i5 processor, things load pretty quickly. And again, we've got pinch to zoom. There's also support for automatic screen rotation, although an 11.6-inch widescreen display is sort of awkward to hold, I think, when you're doing it in widescreen. In fact, I'm having a hard time fitting it even on the camera angle here. So it works. The screen rotation is a little bit slow, and this is something that I've noticed with most Windows devices, is that switching screen rotation is just not as fluid as it is on mobile devices. I'm not entirely sure if that's a function of the x86 hardware or the operating system, but when you get near instantaneous switching on iOS and some Android devices, it can be sort of disconcerting. But overall, again, I think you're more likely to use this in landscape mode. It's a little heavier, a little bit larger than a lot of Android devices, but it's, you can run full versions of Microsoft Office. Right now we're running the full version of Internet Explorer, and it's a touch-optimized version, which is why, even though I normally would use Firefox or Chrome, I've been playing with this a little bit. And I will try Firefox and Chrome later. And, so overall, I think it's an interesting device. Whether it justifies sort of the premium price that you're going to pay to buy this as opposed to a media tablet depends on what you plan to use it for. The fact that you really can use it as a primary computer that you can also hold in your hands is kind of nice. But because of the way that it works with sort of a Bluetooth keyboard, doesn't necessarily have the docking station, you're not going to put it on your lap and type on this keyboard, so you're going to want to make sure that you're comfortable using the on-screen input to either do handwriting recognition or text, the on-screen keyboard. But, we have full support for high-definition video. We have any content that you should be able to access using Internet Explorer is going to be available. You've got Windows Media Player, and these are just out of the box. There's currently no Windows App Store, so you don't have to worry about whether it has the Android Market or the iPhone App Store. Eventually, Windows 8 is going to have an App Store for certain types of applications, but any device, any application really that can run on Windows, Photoshop or Office or anything else, is going to run just fine on here. So, interesting device, a little bit on the expensive side, depending on what you're looking for. If you just want something to surf the web on the go, you might be better off with an Android tablet. But if you're looking for one device to rule them all, the Samsung Series 7 Slate is one of the few options that really does have the active digitizer, the support for touchscreen input, and a fast processor. Asus also has a model, the ePad or E-Slate, which was released earlier this year, and it is similarly priced at around $1,000 and up. So this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and a first look at the Samsung Series 7 Slate. Stay tuned to this YouTube channel and to Liliputing.com for more details soon.